You enjoyed that, and that was valuable. So now I'm going to move into 60-second ideas to change the TC world. Now I think, Craig, you are up first, so while you're getting yourself ready, I'm going to explain how this works. Craig is going to have, in fact, I'm going to need that time. Sorry. Do you not want me to use the time? Okay. Well, I don't know that we can do it. Okay, I will time you, Craig, and I will tell you when time is up. Yeah, they don't want to use that. I will tell you when the time is up, and then if you go 10 seconds over, I'll start shouting. Okay? So, let me just explain how this works, and then, so we've got 3 60-second ideas to change the TC world. If you listen to podcasts, you can download the BBC versions of these, and they have these. They're like mini TED Talks, like teeny micro TEDs. Nobody calls that, micro.
I was very confused by the 60 seconds.
Okay, so Craig will speak to us for 60 seconds flat. And then we're going to have time. We're going to have about, I think, 12 minutes after each of the 60-second ideas to have a conversation about those ideas, to critique them, to run with them, to rubbish them, to support them, whatever we want to do. Now, it's just worth remembering that this is not a great setup, is it? It'd be much nicer if we were in a big circle and so on. The whole lecture theatre idea makes things slightly awkward. So please don't be shy, and I hope that you will have some stimulating ideas to go away with at the end of this section. So, Craig Fees. We need music really, don't we? You have 60 seconds to tell us your idea to change the TC world.
Right. Oh, what a privilege it is. 30 years I've been living and working alongside, as a layperson, you guys in the therapy, most exciting world there is. I've only got one world there is. I've only got one in that 30 years of observation into one idea. Here's the idea. Everyone in this room, everyone involved with therapeutic communities, should go away, take one of these, and devote a minimum of 2 hours doing an oral history interview with a former member of staff or a retired member of staff. That could be secretaries, clinicians, cleaners, whatever. Everyone should do that for a minimum of 2 hours. That will transform you, I can guarantee. It'll transform them. That will transform the world. But also, using the same device, or one very much like it, which I'd like to lend you, a minimum of 2-hour interview with a former resident, with someone who's been through that whole process. That will transform you, an oral history interview, by the way, not just any old interview, an oral history. It'll transform you, it'll transform them, it'll transform the entire landscape within which you work. Some of you will have seen the therapeutic living with other people's children. Are you yelling at me?
Not yet, you've got another 10 seconds.
Stuff moves around. That's the living proof of the transformation, the utter transformation that can happen to you, to the people who participate, and to the world around you.
Thank you. Craig, we probably need you to stay up here, I would think. We're going to have a few minutes of discussion, critique, and so on. So, will you do this with the mic? Will you do it with the mic?
There's a roving one, there's
Yeah.
a lapel mic.
No, I mean, people can probably hear us because of the acoustics. I'm wondering if I can do it. Yes, okay, so, people have comments, critiques. Will this change your TC world?
Sounds like AA with a dictaphone.
You wouldn't use a dictaphone, you'd use a high-quality digital recorder. Recording in WAV, which is a non-glossy format, high quality so it can be archived, shared with the rest of the world in various ways if it isn't too confidential, and you would build up a reservoir of experience that would blow away the world. And that's not AA. AA is contained, AA is private, etc.
Digital blue book?
Sorry?
Digital blue book.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
one therapeutic member to another transformation being held within that construct.
You can do that,
With
yeah.
the AA manifest
Yeah, that,
digital version of.
it's immensely, it's a rich way of relating to another person. And you have to listen, you have to get into their world, you have to listen. And it changes you, it changes them. And then you provide resources for researchers or other people coming into the therapeutic communities or whatever, experience that, that's what you guys have got. You've got experience, which nobody else in the world has. Nobody. And if you can share it, the world around you will change. And that's, I'm kind of living proof of that myself. The archive in which I'm the archivist is living proof of that. It's just there. It's just there.
Sarah?
Looking in the wrong place.
Craig, I think what you're saying is hugely challenging to us because you're asking us to listen for 2 hours. But I say that semi-seriously. We are good talkers. I've learned most in my life from listening. I don't learn from talking because you're saying the same thing. But I think it's really important that sort of being able to listen. But you're saying more, you're saying listen and capture and share. And it's a really good idea.
Hi, Craig, Brexit. When our workshop was now with Steve, we were using this concept a bit of the magic dust and the ineffable thing about TCs that you can't actually capture in words or writing or in any sort of formal procedural way. It's that stuff that makes it feel like a TC and smell like a TC. I mean, how do you capture that? Or is it, because that's the thing I think we can never quite do somehow. The only way to know what a TC is like is to be in one, we would say.
Yeah, I'd love to have people come and join us at the archive sometime, bringing people together, talking together. If you spend, I say a minimum of 2 hours, just to not give yourself a time boundary, if you spend that time talking to someone, listening to someone, Maxwell Jones, it could be anyone else, at the end of that 2.5 hours, the 2 of you have reached an interesting place, an interesting zone, which is poetic, it's fundamental, it's almost incomprehensible. It's a privilege. You're in the midst of the human beingness of therapeutic community. And it's powerful. It's powerful. It transforms you and transforms the person. If you find yourself interviewing someone who, for example, was a child in the therapeutic community 40 years ago, and you're listening to their experiences before they went into the therapeutic community, which are pretty horrific, as you probably can imagine, there's subsequent experiences which are sometimes pretty horrific, but who they are today, when you listen to that and you hear that, and they hear themselves being heard, and they know that that's going to be shared in some way, potentially, it's got to be in their control. You don't simply take this stuff and share it. It has to be confidential, unless or until those folks agree otherwise. In that safe, protected environment, it is a miracle, it is magic dust. You do, in fact, get the essence. And if you bring this person's experience, and this person's experience, and that person's experience, and that person's experience, and you bring them all together, that really does give you a sense of the therapeutic community. So the therapeutic community, no one thing, no one's experience is a therapeutic community. It's ineffable because it belongs to so many different people, and it's made up of so many different people. And that's one of the things one can capture and share. I say, my argument is if we could share that better and more fully, the field would be protected, and the blooming from within and from without would be unstoppable.
I wanted to make a comment on this, Craig, because it seems to me you're inviting us to do something the opposite to what professionals, as opposed to staff, as opposed to members, would normally do, which is we look back and we say, okay, so in order to get to this stage of your life, what's happened? The bad things, the good things, the interesting things, the dull things, the complicated things, the simple things, and we build up a picture of how you got to where you are, and then we try and figure out, so how can this TC help you to change things you want to change and preserve the things you want to preserve? And what you're offering us is an opportunity to return to something that someone did many years ago in the sense of members or residents, and to see it the other way around, to see what it's like going forward. So I was chatting to John Diamond, Chief Executive of Marlborough School, yesterday or a couple of days ago, about a resident from that school from the 1940s who is now in their 70s and has gone on to do all kinds of things. And the conversation you're advocating would fill in the other end that we never look at. What happens after this kind of experience? What's the effect running forward of a TC experience on someone's life? And that seems to me to be fundamentally turning on its head the thing we're normally interested in, and therefore rather valuable.
And another thing it does is that person then tells you their experience of what the staff thought they were doing. So the staff thought they were doing either one thing, and the child or the individual or the resident was experiencing it in a very different way. So you actually capture reflections on, I'm losing my articulate, I'm sorry, but you're capturing the reality of that situation in such a way, the reality for the client, for the resident, for that former child, whoever it is, you're capturing the reality of it that can transform the professional's practice. It's useful in that way as well.
I find it very interesting, and I am okay with this. I agree with this.
Το έχω κάπως εφαρμόσει στην ομάδα μουσικής κίνησης όταν ανέφερα ως θεραπεύτρια για την ομάδα.
I have implemented it in a way in the group that I am as a therapist, the music movement group.
Πήρα το φάκελο της ομάδας, το ιστορικό, και διάβασα από την ίδρυσή της μέχρι την ώρα που αναλαμβάνω ποιοι ήταν οι θεραπευτές και ποια τα μέλη, όλα τα ονόματα.
I took the archive of the written archives of this group and started reading who was the therapist, which were the members, everything regarding the history of this group. For about 20 years.
Και με κάποιο τρόπο τα μέλη από 5-6 που ανέβαινα φτάσαμε στα 25.
And in a way, the members, by starting from 5 members, they were increased up to 25 after doing that.
If I understood what you were saying, you've used the history and exploration of the history as a tool for community development, of developing the community, the therapeutic community, and that's part of the power also of oral history. You cannot sit with someone and be really interested in them without building connection, without building community. And as therapeutic community practitioners, you know that that's the essence of therapeutic community: communication, belonging, identity, community. That's why it's so powerful, very simple, but very powerful too.
Thank you, Craig Feast.